How's it going, everybody? Jordan here, and in today's video I'm going to go over my review and build for the legendary Athenian War hero set. This is a fun hunter set, and if you enjoy killing Spartans from a distance, then this will be the set for you. Before we get into the build details, as always, leaving a like on the video really helps support the channel, and if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments of this video or join our awesome Discord community, or you can also tweet them at me. Alright, let's get right into it. The legendary bonus for the Athenian War Hero set is all arrows pierce shields and 30% hunter damage. If you played Odyssey early in its release, you'll notice that this bonus has changed with the increase of the level cap. This bonus used to only be all arrows pierce shields, and then within the last few updates they added the 30% overall hunter damage, which has made the set a lot better in my opinion. It still doesn't do as much damage as a well optimized epic hunter build, but now after some tests it for sure still packs a huge punch. I paired the set with the new copycat sword reward from the most recent Lost Tales of Greece quest called One Really Bad Day, where there's an imposter eagle bearer and someone called Chikaros, which is really funny, and you get the sword at the end for completing that quest. And it has some very awesome stats for this set. First, it's the second melee weapon after the Master of Waters in the game that has crit chance on it, but it also has damage against Spartan soldiers. In most builds, I would say that this is a bad piece of gear, but in our case with the Athenian War Hero set, we now have more damage against Spartans and the additional crit chance, making this sword perfect for this legendary set. I also didn't use any elemental damage on this set either and chose to use death arrows, and it still kills with extremely high crits on multi-shot, especially if your enemies happen to be Spartans. Alright, let's get right into the gear. So our primary weapon is going to be the Atlantean Blade. It's a legendary dagger that you can get from completing a quest in the region of Elise. It has hunter damage, crit chance, armor penetration, and then I engraved it with the Falx of Olympios engraving that gives us 100% damage, but health caps us to 25%. Just think of that as a minus 75% health engraving there. The 30% armor penetration helps make our death arrows hit even harder, and after my testing, the 30% armor penetration looks to be very close to a 30% damage boost. Like I mentioned, our secondary weapon is the copycat sword from the Lost Tales of Greece quest. This does give us warrior damage, but I'm mainly using it for the additional damage on Spartan soldiers, crit chance, and then I engraved more crit damage on it. For our bow, you're going to want to get the hunter damage, crit chance, and headshot damage, and then I went ahead and engraved 50% chance to not consume special arrows. This is very useful if you're using death arrows so you don't have to constantly be refreshing them. And if you wanted to, you could put more damage in the engraving there, but I decided to go with that engraving. Alright, let's look at the armor. So on the head we have hunter damage, damage on Spartan soldiers, and then I engraved crit chance while at full health, because again, as hunters we're going to be at full health a lot. You're going to want to lead into that specific engraving. For our gauntlets, we have hunter damage, damage with overpowered abilities, and then 100% crit damage while at full health. For the chest, we have hunter damage, damage with bow charge shot, and then I engraved 50% crit damage as well. For the waist, we have hunter damage, headshot damage, and then I engraved 10% crit chance. And then lastly, on the boots, we have hunter damage, bow charging speed, and then I engraved crit chance while at full health again. Alright, let's look at the abilities. I have a melee ability wheel and then a ranged one. Let's go over the melee one first. So because of the high crit chance with this build, my primary melee ability is going to be Rush Assassination. Rush Assassination can one-shot a lot of people even on this build with almost no assassin damage on it. So it's very useful as a hunter if you need to take a quick group of people out and you're not quite looking forward to it. Our secondary is going to be the Chronos Time Warp or just the regular slow time. If you happen to have the DLC, the Chronos Time Warp works really well. It gives you additional headshot damage, and every headshot you get extends the time for another 2 seconds, making this a very useful ability to kind of gather yourself in a group of enemies. And then our third ability is going to be Vanish. There's going to be times where you may be caught in a group of people and you need to get out of there because you will be very glass cannon-y with this set, and so popping a Vanish to get out of there and then maybe using Chronos Time Warp warp will be very helpful. And then lastly, second wind. As always, you can take hits in this game and you need to be staying at full health for that additional crit chance, so it's always good to have a backup when you need it, and that's why I picked second wind. Alright, let's look at our ranged abilities. One thing I realized was I should have put points into overpowered bow strike first of all because of the overpowered attacks on the set. I didn't really use that very much, but if you like using this ability, you do get 20% more damage with that with this set. That being said, our primary ability is going to be Devastating Shot. This deals 400% hunter damage plus the critting plus all the hunter damage, and it pierces through shields, so this is a very fantastic ability. Our secondary ability is going to be Multi-Shot. Again, with the all arrows pierce shields, you don't have to worry about any of your arrows getting blocked, and you can mop up a large group of people very quickly with this. And because of the special arrows don't get consumed perk, you can fire it a bunch in conquest battles and not have to worry about running out of death arrows. And then our last and final ability is going to be Predator Shot. This deals a 600% hunter damage and it flies further. It's a very good hunter ability to use to take out key people in forts that you're looking for. And then lastly, because you're not using elemental damage, putting some points into Arrow Master, maybe even Beast Master, so that you have someone who can absorb some hits while you get into a fight. And then also Sixth Sense, that additional 200% hunter damage when getting noticed can one-shot a lot of people, and it auto locks on their head. Alright, let's look at the masteries for this build. As always, if you don't have as many ability points as I do, that's fine. Just focus on the primary ones that I mentioned here. On the hunter side, you're going to want to put some points into crit chance and crit damage over here. And then also you're going to want to put a lot of points into chance to not consume special arrows. This boosts it up to a total of 75% chance to not consume special arrows, making you not run out of death arrows for a very long time. If you have the extra points, putting them into hunter damage, headshot damage, damage with bow charging speed, and then finally adrenaline on headshot kill. On the warrior side, this is optional, but I put some points into damage dealt restored as health. In case you do get hit by something, you can use your arrows to get your health back, but this is not needed. On the assassin side, these are primary masteries with this set. I think will be crit chance at full health, crit damage at full health, and damage at full health. And then if you have the extra points, putting them into adrenaline per hit, adrenaline per crit, and damage on elites and bosses for that additional damage. Alright, let's look at the stats for this build. As always, in the description of this video should be a link to our builds.ac website with all of these details and stats for you that you can look at on your mobile phone or on the computer as well. The big thing here that you'll notice is because I put full 20 points into crit chance at full health and full 20 points into crit chance on the hunter tree in the masteries, we have a perfect 100% crit chance while at full health. We are always critting with this build, and when we do, we're dealing an additional 417% damage. Now, this is not as high as other hunter builds can get, but it's still remarkably high, and when matched with the death arrows or a headshot, it will kill enemies very quickly. And on top of that, if they happen to be Spartan soldiers, they'll die even faster. One area that I don't typically cover, but I kind of wanted to look at, was the utility here. Because of the extra points we spread around on the utility, you're getting a lot of adrenaline back. And so it's very key to kind of lean into that and use your rush assassinations and all your abilities with this set to kind of keep yourself moving and going. Because if you just stand around and just use arrows, you're bound to get hit eventually on Nightmare, and you're very glass cannony, and taking a hit like that could be the end of you very quickly. So that's the Athenian War Hero set. Overall, it's one of the better hunter sets. I'd prefer the Artemis set, but they are honestly very comparable and super close in terms of how much damage they do and how fun they are to play. If you love killing Spartans, this will be the best build for that. I really did have some fun making this video, and I love that all of you are challenging me, because from a distance, I really judged this set, and part of me didn't think I could make a decent build with it. But after playing and testing, really any of these legendary sets can work. They just make you play in a specific playstyle, which I think is fun and refreshing, especially after all the epic gear optimization I've done done over the past few hundred hours. Thanks again for watching. As always, leaving a like really supports the channel and my growth here on YouTube. I'd really appreciate it. And if you enjoy Assassin's Creed Odyssey content, I'm sure, as you know, you can click that subscribe button below for more of that type of content. Thanks again for watching. I appreciate all of you, and I'll see you guys next time.
So proud of those